Stop buying bad PC cases. Let's get you the best PC case 2025 for your budget. Welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. It's time for our best PC case 2025 buying guide. With tons of new cases hitting the market, we'll cover the critical PC case features that you need, and we'll make specific product recommendations for best budget PC case in 2025, best mid-range PC case in 2025, and best premium PC case in 2025. If you get value out of this video, please give it a like, because it really helps out, and of course subscribe for more cool PC content. Let's jump into it. This video is sponsored by VIP SCD Key. Say goodbye to crazy expensive Windows licenses and that terrible Activate Windows watermark. Right now, use the links in the video description, head over to VIP SCD Key and get a Windows 10 or 11 OEM license for a great price. Pick your product license, then use the PC Builder discount code PC25 for an additional 30% off. Go to the activation settings on your PC, put in the code, and boom! Windows is fully licensed for a crazy low price. And they have Microsoft Office licenses too. Use the links in the video description. So how much should you spend on your PC case in 2025? Well, I recommend spending 5 to 10% of your overall PC budget on the case, including any additional fans. That's going to vary a little bit, as the cheapest PC cases start around $50, with some of the best budget PC cases around $60 to $70. Mid-range PC cases start around $80, and I would consider anything over $110 a premium PC case, and those go up into the hundreds of dollars depending what you're looking for. What size of PC case do you need? Well, PC cases are classified by what type of motherboard that they fit. ATX PC cases fit ATX sized and smaller motherboards. Micro ATX sized PC cases fit micro ATX and smaller motherboards, and mini ITX PC cases, they only fit mini ITX motherboards. Now, the physical dimensions of the case itself will vary, so double check that your components, particularly the GPU length, will fit in your case. In terms of styles, well, traditional front intake PC cases like the Corsair 4000D and BitPhoenix Nova Mesh remain popular. Atrium style PC cases now dominate the market, like the Thermaltake View series and the Antec C3 and the Antec C5, along with the Montech King 95. So how much airflow do you need in your PC case in 2025? Well, it depends on your components. I recommend at least 2 intake fans and 1 exhaust fan. Now, as we go up in power usage and higher end components, we definitely want to make sure to scale our airflow to match. I also generally recommend a slight positive pressure. That's where more air is pushed into the case than exhausted out, as that can help us control the amount of dust getting into the case at the intake points, either through mesh or filters. Remember, you don't need mesh filters at the exhaust ports, just where the air is coming into the build. PC case fans still vary widely in terms of their quality in 2025. Thankfully, only the worst budget PC cases use those uncontrollable Molex fans any longer. In fact, in 2025, many cases come with built-in fans and even ARGB hubs, where you can connect all the case fans to a single fan hub on your motherboard. You can also buy your own PWM and ARGB fan controller hubs and your own fans, so I will leave some link down in the video description, including a cheap 3-pack of Thermalright PWM ARGB fans that I really love that come in black or white. Most importantly, let's talk about your graphics card. There are 2 ways to mount your graphics card. First, the traditional horizontal mount, which does increase the risk of GPU sag. There are a number of ways to fix this, either through a stand mount or a bracket that bolts onto your PC. Just make sure it doesn't prevent one of the GPU fans from spinning. Or you can vertically mount the GPU. Just make sure your case will support this orientation and that there will be at least 1 inch of clearance between the glass and the GPU fans for proper airflow. You'll also need a PCIe riser cable to connect your GPU to the motherboard, and they come in different lengths and speeds. If you're having issue with a vertically mounted GPU using a PCIe riser cable, jump into the BIOS and then manually set the motherboard GPU slot PCIe speed to match the riser cable's rated speed, rather than using the auto setting. In terms of other features, modern cases generally offer front panel I/O with at least 2 USB 3.0 Type A ports, audio jacks, with some providing USB-C connectivity. Internal DVD drives, they're just not a thing anymore, so I'll link a cheap external USB connection DVD drive in the video description. Quality cases feature good cable management solutions, including rubber grommets and PSU shrouds for clean builds. Removable 3.5-inch hard drive bays are a plus, allowing for better cable management and sometimes airflow after you take them out. Let's jump into our best PC case recommendations for 2025. Now, everything's linked down in the video description. We're going to keep those links updated as new cases pop up or they go out of stock, or as prices change. So check out those links in the video description for current pricing and availability in your region. Let's jump into the best budget PC case 2025. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, it has to be under $60 and include all the fans that we need. And that's 3 fans typically, or it includes enough that I can buy another fan and still get under $60. Now, I will say pricing right now, kind of crazy. While the trade war seems to have reached some conclusion recently, PC prices, especially PC case prices, still in flux. A lot of them went up sharply in the last week here. Fingers crossed they're going to come back down, but I'm just going to talk about these where they've been in the market. If they get priced out, I will put other ones down in the video description down there. But let's start out. Basically a $60 great PC case. This is Okonos. Now, most of these cases are going to be micro ATX cases. They're going to fit micro ATX motherboards, but not ATX size motherboards. This is a great case. This is the Mirage 4 Black. I will say about Okonos, they are a way less established brand. Like for instance, you can't even get the directions to their case on their website if you lose them. So don't lose them, but we have used a number of their PC cases and they're great. They have been really premium for the price that you're paying, This is the Mirage 4 Black. It also comes in all white. Comes with 3 included ARGB fans. The ones on the bottom are actually reverse blade, so they are intake fans. And then you can add additional fans if you want. That should be enough for most PC builds, at least to get you started. The front GPU, they do include the dimensions in here, so just make sure that you check the dimensions against that. And I would say probably take away about 10 millimeters from what they say in terms of their GPU clearance, because this is kind of a tight case. But it also does come in an all-white version as well. And right now with 10% off, that would be like $52. Another great budget option, particularly if you're looking for the more traditional front intake case, is the BitPhoenix Nova Mesh. Now, this is the micro ATX version for $59. They often sell the ATX size version, which just includes 1 additional fan, as well as being ATX size, for $59. Right now, it's $69 out there. But these are great cases. I will say these are getting a little bit older in their design, but they still work really well. We build quite a bit in these. 3 included ARGB fans. It comes in all black and it comes in white as well. Just like a lot of these cases, they have their own fan and ARGB hub in the back. You're going to go ahead and plug the stuff from that right in your motherboard. They've got a really nice PSU shroud right here. I overall like it. The one thing I will note, if you get a PSU that for whatever reason has something ugly on the side, this has only happened to me once, there is a cutout there. Now, if you have a PSU that has something cool on the side, like a lot of the MSI PSUs, it'll also look really cool right there, but it does have a window as well. Another great option for $59, probably a little bit more modern than the BitPhoenix Nova Mesh one, but again, by Okonos, so again, less established company than BitPhoenix. This is the Cypress 3. Now, it comes in black and it comes in with RGB and it comes in a black with wood. I have not seen an all-white version of this just yet. So if you want an all-white, the BitPhoenix Nova Mesh, again, one of my favorites. This is another great one. This has 2 Type A's in terms of the USB outs on it. It's got a Type C on it. Comes with 4 included ARGB fans, 3 in the front, 1 in the rear. What else to say about it? They're not PWM fans. You don't find PWM fans typically for this price point just yet. A little bit more money and we'll get there. These are typically 3 pins, so you can still control them just fine. In fact, to me, there's not a lot of difference between that. I know some people really emphasize that. Otherwise, this is a great case. It's got nice mesh to it. It's got an ARGB hub to it. I mean, what do you really want for $59? Then there is an all black version, including no RGB with wood paneling. Basically, it's a Cypress 3 wood, same exact case for $62. Let's jump into the best PC case 2025 in the mid-range. So these are going to be between $60 and $90 US. We're going to start off with micro ATX. We'll work our way up to ATX. We're going to get a lot more ATX size cases here. Typically, we're going to get them with PWM fans, especially as we get in the $70, $80, almost $90 range. And we're gonna get basically just generally better build quality. I know some people get super excited for thicker metal on the cases. To me, that just makes the case heavier to pick up. I don't care how thin the metal is, as long as it's not dented. Otherwise, we're gonna get just kind of better features overall. All right, let's start off at the lower end with micro ATX cases, starting off with the Okonos Aqua 3. This is a case I like quite a bit. Used to sell for $54, got super popular. Now everybody's buying this case. Still one of my favorite picks, even though it's got some competitors out there that you may want to check out as well. So the Aqua 3 here, 3 included ARGB fans, comes in all black, comes in all white, and then comes in a non-RGB black version that actually sells for a little bit less than $60. We'll go through all 3 really quickly. The basic setup of this case, though, is negative pressure. So these are all exhaust fans at the top, and what it's designed to do is basically create a negative pressure so that air flows in through this bottom grill here. That's where your dust gets trapped. That's where you're going to clean off the dust on it. It's a pretty ingenious thing. If you don't like that, you can flip the fans around on the top And voila, there you go. Now you have 2 intake fans and 1 exhaust. Not a ton of airflow in this guy, but perfectly adequate for lower heat components. And it occupies a pretty tight space in terms of on your desk. So if you're looking for something with a much smaller footprint, this is really nice. It's got 2 Type A's and a Type C here. In terms of GPU clearance, now they say 350 millimeters. I would probably shave about 10 millimeters off. You don't want to run right in the glass, but still 340 millimeters would be pretty generous for a case of this size. And then in terms of the all white, it looks really, really sharp. I have to say, this is one of the better looking all white cases. We've actually matched the plastic to the metal. That doesn't always happen with all white cases. Sometimes there's a little bit of off white. And then here you go for $58, the non-RGB all black version. Right now would fit into our best budget PC case category. The only other thing to add about the Aqua 3 is that it's basically air cooling only here. There's really nowhere to install any kind of liquid cooler, so bring your air coolers. Moving over to the Thermaltake View 170TG, and listen, this was my top recommendation until yesterday, because yesterday this case price went from about $60 to $80 for the black one, and from about $60 to about $67 for the all white one. Now, these cases I absolutely love, and the reason it was going to knock off the Aqua 3 is while it's a micro ATX size case, so you will not fit an ATX size motherboard in here, it includes that liquid cooling support at the top. You could definitely put in up to a 280 millimeter radiator, which is what they rate. I typically say go 240. Sometimes 280s are tough to squeeze in there. Only will go on the top, obviously on the side. You need to make room for the GPU right there. And you can get in pretty long GPUs into this as well. It does move the IO up to the top of the case. Not a big deal for me, but it's great in terms of overall airflow, especially for higher heat components. $67 is not bad for the all white one. Hopefully the black one will come down in price. Moving over to ATX size cases, there's really 3 that I think kind of dominate the market right now. Unfortunately, other cases have gone more into the premium range, but we'll check those out in just a second. Let me give you my top 3 that I think are just crushing everything else. The first one is the Montech XR, which seems like it's finally back in stock. This was my #1 pick last year, and then it immediately went out of stock like about a month and a half or 2 months later. It seems like it's finally back. It's at least sold and shipped by Amazon, at least the white one is right now. The black one has been too. Hopefully it'll be back in stock at Newegg soon. Come on, Montech, get this thing back. Now, there's a lot of copycats of this particular case. So why do I think this case is a little bit better than the other ones? The other ones are good. If you get any of the other ones, you won't be disappointed. But why do I like this one a little bit better? #1, it has the reverse blade fans on the side. So those fans on the side are actually intake, even though they look like they're in the exhaust position right now. The one in the rear is not reverse blade, so that is exhaust. That way you don't have to look at the back of the fan, you just get the cool ARGB-ness of it. The other thing I do like the IO being at the bottom here. A little bit better than at the top. Oftentimes that means you'll have to cable manage some of the top cables down. I like these sitting at the bottom of the case. To me, a little bit easier in the build process, a little bit easier to hide those cables. What else about this case do I like a little bit better than its competitors? Well, its price is typically a little bit better, and I think the build quality is a shade above the rest. For instance, this one has, if you can see it, over the grommet, the cable grommet holes, it has grommet hole covers that are rubber. 2 thumbs up. Most of the other ones don't. They're just empty grommets, basically. You can cable manage around them. Here, this is a better view of it. You can cable manage around them, but you would love not to have to do it. So I really do like that. Again, $64 is an insane price for this. If this does go out of stock, I will leave its competitors linked down in the video description instead. Another case, and again, Montech just absolutely killing it, especially with these 10% coupons that basically bring these down to almost, $60 or $72 here. This is the Montech XR Wood. This is a brand new edition. Also comes in white and black. Great looking case, by the way. And it's got this little bit of wood highlight at the top, which I really like. Now, this does move the IO to the top of the case. Again, not my favorite because I don't like having to cable manage it, but I do think they handle it pretty well because you can't see it. It's actually channeled behind the motherboard wall there. So 2 thumbs up there, the motherboard pan. The other thing I like about this is obviously the price. Comes with 4 included ARGB fans. The fans look amazing. They are all PWM fans on this. Again, for about $73, this is just such a hard deal to beat. One case that does compete with it is the Thermaltake View 270 Plus. Now this is obviously an atrium style case. It does not have the reverse blade fans on it. It doesn't have the rubber grommet hole covers to it. You can see just the open grommet holes there, but this is still a very good case. I still like this quite a bit. And it does have the IO on the top rather than at the bottom. So you will have to cable manage some of those cables down from the top. It's not the hardest thing to do, but in terms of being able to build the way you want to build it, yeah, it can be kind of a pain. The one thing that this has advantage over, if you're looking for other colors, if you want to do a pink build, kaboom, there you go. If you want to do one in blue, there you go. If you want a green one. So they're going to offer some additional color options. Here's the all white one. Now it's $89 right now. However, this case often goes on sale for like $69 in order to compete with the Montech one. And again, if the Montech is sold out, or if you want some of these other color options, I think this is a good one to pick up. Let's jump into the best PC case 2025 into the premium category. So premium cases, $90 up to $120. There is an ultimate category that's even more than that. We'll get to in just a moment. But now we're getting into cases that are starting to get more showpiece centric. They're also going to have tons of included fans to them. They're also going to be typically a little bit bigger and more showy in terms of what you're getting for them. Let's start off with an absolute banger, the ATX C3. This comes in all black and also comes in an all white version as well. And it comes with 4 included ARGB fans, 3 on the side panel, 1 at the top there, or 1 on the rear, I should say. Now you can fit up to a 360 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler on it. 2 thumbs up. That's pretty standard even for some of the mid-range ATX cases as well. But what do you get with this? Well, it will allow you to install a lot of additional fans. It doesn't necessarily come with them, but for instance, you can install this kind of bucket fan down here at the bottom for more airflow to your GPU, for instance. And the great thing about this case is it just absolutely looks very, very striking. Now, this case has been sold out for a long time, and at $89 right now, it usually sells a little closer to $100. That's where the white one is. The black one looks like it's on sale right now. You can see why it sells out at this price, because it's one of the best price to performance. The other thing I like about this case, it does have a little bit of RGB, this little, I don't know what you want to call that, like a light strip right there. Just a nice little added feature. It comes with a full ARGB hub in the rear that you're going to plug into your motherboard, so you can control that as well. Little lacking in terms of the overall I/O with it, just 1 Type-C and 1 Type-A USB port on it, but a lot of people don't use those ports anyway, so if you don't necessarily use it, I wouldn't worry about it. Again, one of the showier cases and one of the more popular cases out there. Moving over to another great value here is the Okonos Aqua 7. Now, we've, like a lot of the other cases here, we've done a build in this one. We did a 9700X and an RTX 5070 Ti build in it. Absolutely amazing. This comes with 6 included ARGB fans. They're all PWM. It's an ATX size case. And I have to tell you, a lot of times these cases with a lot of fans to them, they come wired in kind of weird ways. You end up having to like completely rewire the case. And you're like, well, why did it even come pre-wired in the first place? It should have just been everything loose. I would have had less struggle with it. This case actually came pre-wired in a really intelligent way. So I absolutely love that. It really did reduce kind of the stress of the building process on it. I will say, like a lot of these cases with fans at the bottom, it is a little harder to plug in some of your motherboard connectors at the bottom. You may have to take some of these fans off during the build process, but that's not just specific to this case, that's specific to a lot of cases like this. I do like that it's got all the connectors, the external connectors here to the USB-A type ports and the USB Type-C ports on the bottom, because that means the cables for these are in the bottom and you don't have to deal with them coming down from the top and have to cable manage that in the back. I like that a lot. This is a great case. We did ours with a 360 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler. It was the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3, and that cooler tends to be just a little longer than other 360s, and it did fit very closely, very tightly, but it did fit in there. Overall, I really do like this. Again, Okonos, up and coming company. They don't have all the full kind of range of stuff. You can't get the instructions on the website, for instance. Okonos, you really should do something about that because you want to make it to the big leagues. But this is a great value for $90, and it comes both in the all black version as well as a super striking all white version. I wanted to add a version here of the Aqua 9. We're not going to show the Aqua 9, but this is the Aqua 93 by Okonos. The reason I'm adding this in because for only $89, and there's no white version, it's just black, you get a case where you can actually vertically mount the GPU for relatively cheap, and it has a top glass panel. I just thought those were unique elements. Now, this is designed to work with a 360 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler because it only comes with 2 fans. It comes with this reverse blade fan in the bucket here that's going to intake in, and then it comes with this fan at the back that's an exhaust fan, and then you're basically going to need to put in a 360 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler, and they have recessed the side in so that you can get that in there without bumping into your GPU, which you can see you have a lot of clearance for that. The other great thing about this is you can rotate the ATX slots here so that they are vertical rather than horizontal, and you can vertical mount your GPU. It does not include, it comes with all the standoffs and everything you need for that, but it does not include the actual PCIe riser cable. So you have to buy the riser cable. That's typical of most cases. You'll have to buy it separately out there. But for $89, it's just something that's super unique. All right, moving over to the Lian Landcool 216. I absolutely continue to love this case. Lian, please continue to make it, because it does look like either you're not being able to supply enough volume because it is selling out at times, although it's available right now in all the colors, which is great. Comes in white, comes in black, comes in a non-RGB version too, if you want to do that as well. This case is an absolute dream to build, and this is my best building experience ever has been in these cases. I think I built in like 3 of these things so far, so 2 thumbs up on these. I absolutely hated the 215, but the 216, you fixed all the problems. And the great thing about this case, to me, it all completely comes apart. You can take off the entire top of this case, comes off. It is a dream to install a liquid cooler on this because you don't have to slam it up with your hand, right? Hold it up with your hand while you're screwing it in. You just take the top off, you flip it upside down, you stick it on. It's just so easy. The call to action on this case basically is the larger 160 millimeter fans on the front, which are really, really awesome, by the way, because you can spin these fans a lot slower and they're still moving quite a bit of volume of air because, again, larger surface area basically because the larger diameter of the fan. I absolutely love that. It does come with a 140 millimeter fan in the back that is not ARGB, so if you want to change that out, you certainly can. But for around $100, this case does definitely not break the bank. And the all-white one, by the way, looks absolutely stunning. You can get versions of this where they basically add in, there's a panel right here where you can add some additional front I/O. I guess if you need a whole bunch of connections over and above the tons of connections that they already provide at the top, which is a Type-C and 2 Type-A's, you can certainly do that. So it just basically adds more USB to the front of it. The cable management on this case, by the way, is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Lian really knocked it out of the park with this case. I love this case at $100 to $110. All right, let's add one more in here that we actually got from our Boost My Build series, where we take your PC build list, we tear them up, we put them back together and massively increase your performance. And we had a viewer submit this who wanted no RGB in their build. At first I looked at this case, I was like, well, gosh, we're paying the Corsair tax for about $100. What are we really getting here? We're getting an all black case with 3 included black fans. But the more I looked at this and the more I checked it out, this front grille is really unique. And I think for those of you looking for a non-RGB statement out there, this is a super cool and very premium case. I like that they've moved the I/O to the bottom on this because, again, it's easier to deal with in the PSU shroud than have to cable manage it from the bottom. Or top rather, that's great. You will need an additional fan, but that's pretty easy to get. I like the Arctic P12 fans. They run really, really well. Now, again, this is not an RGB version. There is an RGB version of this case for like $110, and it's for the black one, also $110 for the white one. Now, you will get locked into their proprietary RGB environment because they use a non-standard connector for their RGB fans, and then you plug it into their controller, which then goes into the USB 2.0 header, and you end up using iCUE software. This is good if you want to accept that kind of proprietary environment. You want to use iCUE, and you're going to get probably a Corsair fan for the rear there. But if you're looking for a more premium non-RGB solution in either black, or it also does come in white as well for a little bit cheaper. Let's move over to ultra premium PC cases in 2025. Now listen, there's tons of cases out there at this point. It's $120 or greater, but I'm gonna give you some options here that I think bring in unique elements. Most of these are going to be primarily aesthetic because at this point, we're not just looking for a case to just house our components. We're looking to make some kind of statement piece. Let's start off with the Fractal Design North at $140. It comes in black, it comes in white, And then you can either get a glass side panel with it, or you can get the mesh side panel like that. Here's the black version. And it comes for about $140. Now, it only comes with 2 included fans. Again, we're at a price point here where we're more interested in spending money on design aesthetics, so we don't mind going out and buying additional fans, and you can buy whatever fans you want for it out there, up to and including super high-end like Noctua fans if you want to, have the best acoustics and everything. Now, I will say I don't quite understand why the black version has a dark tint to the glass, whereas on the white one, it's a clear panel. I would have liked at least a clear panel option on both of those, but it does look nice either way. And if you're just looking for the mesh version, look at that. It looks absolutely amazing with that wood paneling, $140. Another great case, ATX C5 ARGB, 7 included ARGB fans. They're all PWM. You saw the white version of it sitting next to me during the educational section. This will fit tons and tons of stuff. You can actually fit up to a 280 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler on the side, 360 millimeter on the top. Now they claim a 360 millimeter on the bottom, but remember, that's not necessarily good. You need one that would have a pump in the bottom of the radiator rather than at the pump head for that. But that's still a lot of liquid cooling potential for this thing. It does come with 7 included ARGB fans. They're great fans. They do come pre-wired in a kind of a crazy way. I did have to take them all apart and put them back together. Now, once I did that, the build looked amazing, but that was one minor annoyance. Also, Antec, can you not just kick in a couple of rubber grommet hole covers into this thing somewhere? Minor annoyances, though, pretty easy to cable manage around if you know what you're doing with it. I would not classify this, by the way, as a beginner PC build. So if you've never built a gaming PC in your life, I would probably avoid a lot of these kind of higher end cases, particularly this one. Now, this one does come with this massive ARGB hub at the bottom of it, right here. I absolutely love the ARGB hub. It was a little tough to get to when I had everything done. So I would make sure all those fans are kind of plugged in where you want them before you start piling everything in. But this is a dual chamber case, so the PSU is going to go on the back side of it. And I did like that because it is much easier to cable manage a lot of the PSU cables back there. $129 for the black one right now. It's actually on sale. $119 for the white one. This is a really, really nice case. All right, moving over to the Montech King 95 Pro. They also sell this without the fans, by the way, although it's really hard to get. It's called the King 95. This is the Pro version. It comes with 6 included ARGB fans. It's basically like Montech's version, kind of upgraded of the Lee & Lee 011 Dynamic. Now, this is a great PC case, but there are some important limitations to note. One, by the way, is the white version, for whatever reason, typically runs like $175. The black version is more like $160, sometimes down to $150. In fact, I think that's what it is right now. It has a more recessed side here. You can actually fit a liquid cooler on this, potentially up to 240 millimeters. The other thing I like about this case is that it does come like completely apart, just like the Lee & Lee 216. The top pan comes out so you can actually install that all-in-one liquid cooler on that and then set it down in it. 2 thumbs up there. The dust filters come off. The whole case pulls apart, makes it much easier to build. Like the Antec C5, this is a dual chamber case, so you're going to be able to install your PSU on the backside and cable manage a lot of stuff like that. A lot of people absolutely freaking love this case, and it does come with the optional mesh on the side as well if you don't want that glass panel. Personally, I would go with the curved glass panel because that's the whole look of it, is the curved glass on the side. Looks incredible. Well, it's still pretty expensive, but again, if you're looking for a showpiece case, maybe this is the one for you. Another case to take a look at for a statement piece is the Phanteks Evolve X2. This is an incredible case. It's wrap-around glass. And when you see this thing, it just blows you away, basically. It's about $180. You can usually find it at Newegg. I will leave it linked down in the video description. Comes in both a kind of a steel as well as a black here. And this case looks absolutely incredible. Now it has a little bit of RGB element right down here that looks nice. The I/O is down here towards the bottom. But really, I think the thing to take a look at is look at the glass on the rear of it right here. So this is glass. In terms of the cable management, it is pretty awesome in the back. Tons and tons of room. It has an entire chamber down here just for your PSU. The case is pretty amazing. Again, you're going to have to pay a price premium, and you're going to have to buy all the fans for it because it doesn't come with anything other than an RGB light strip right down there at the bottom. But if you're looking for a statement piece, this might be it. Let's jump into mini ITX PC cases. There's a couple here that also will fit micro ATX motherboards, but they're essentially small form factor cases, the best one in 2025. I'm just gonna run through a couple of these that I think are really good picks. There are tons and tons out there, including more specialty vendors like Ncase, but those are typically completely sold out. You have to pre-order those far in advance in order to grab one. So I'm gonna give you things you can actually buy right now. Let's start off with the Johnsbow C6. This is a great case. It is an ITX case, requires ITX, mini ITX motherboard to it. It will take an ATX PSU. However, check all the requirements for this case, including the size of the GPU and everything. You look at that on the desk. It looks amazing if you're looking to do a mini ITX build, but you can see kind of compact there, definitely compact there. It's a great frame, doesn't come with any fans, something to note there, but only $65. If you're looking for more of like a gaming console look no further than the Fractal Design Ridge. Now it comes in white, it also comes in all black. They both look amazing for $129. This is a dual chamber case. It comes with the riser cable that you need, but you're gonna build part of it on top of the PC case, and then you're gonna build part of it on the bottom. So for instance, your GPU here is going to go probably up here, and then the rest of your motherboard goes here. Again, as with everything else, always check out the requirements for the case, the measurement for the GPU, and this is going to require an ITX motherboard, but I will say the finished product looks pretty awesome. Another great case out there, but we're getting more expensive, as you can see, is the Lee A4H2O. This is a mini ITX PC case that people absolutely love right now. It's very, very tight. It does come in either the black or comes in a silver as well. The case itself, not much to say other than it does come with a riser cable as well, PCIe 4.0. It says it's easy installation for an AIO, so it does support AIOs as well. I like this case quite a bit, but it is $155. Now, then of course we've got the Fractal Design Terra. It comes in a couple different colors. It comes in black, which they call grass fight. This is like Starbucks style, right? They can't just call it a meme. They have to call it a venti. It comes in a green, which I think is jade. And then it comes in a white, which is, I don't know, for $179. Now, these cases are absolutely incredible, but they are very tough to build in. If you're not experienced small form factor builder out there, you might struggle with these cases. The nice thing about this case is it's, again, a dual chamber case. However, this will actually move. You can actually align where the chamber goes. So if you have a little extra room on one side, you can kind of shuffle it off to the side. This is one of these tightest small form factor cases out there, so double check all your measurements. We get in a couple of cases here that are ITX, but also will fit a micro ATX motherboard that sometimes you have to check the other configurations, like can you get the fans on top and bottom in there? If you do that, the Johnsbow Z20 is a great lunchbox style case with a glass panel on the side here. Super popular, $104. Now this will support a 240mm AIO. In fact, given its small size, it is pretty shocking how much stuff you can actually fit into it. There's a dual tower air cooler there as an example. Not that different to me than the NR200P, just basically a better iteration of it. And then finally, we have the Lee A3 Micro ATX case. So this will fit a Micro ATX motherboard, but you also should consider an ITX motherboard in here, especially if you want to try and get like a 360mm AIO, which is totally insane for a small form factor case like this. This is 26.3 liters. So it's not the most compact out there, but it's pretty compact. And again, at $79, it's also quite affordable. Remember, everything is linked down in the video description. Check out those links for current pricing and availability in your region. Let me know down in the comments, which PC cases are you looking at? What kind of build are you thinking of doing? If you got value out of this video, please give it a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel. And of course, subscribe for more cool PC content. And we'll catch you on the next one.